How does the human mind view time? In terms of speeding up or slowing down?
Humans tend to perceive time as something linear that speeds up or slows down depending on their experiences. When they're bored, time seems to drag on, and when they're having fun, it feels like it's flying by.
How does this perception affect their behavior? Do they try to seek ways of escaping time, like drugs or meditation?
Yes, humans often seek ways to escape the perceived slowness or speediness of time. Some turn to drugs to alter their state of mind and experience time differently. Others may practice meditation or engage in other activities that help them stay present in the moment and reduce the sense of passing time.
Do they have a common conception on time, or are there different views? Can it change according to culture or age?
There are certainly different views of time across cultures and ages. For example, some indigenous cultures may view time as cyclical rather than linear, and perceive themselves as part of an eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. In general, older people tend to see time passing faster, while young people perceive it as slower.
What is the impact of technology on our perception of time? Does it make us more aware or less aware of its passage?
Technology can both heighten our awareness and decrease our awareness of the passage of time. On one hand, technology allows us to track time more precisely and efficiently, which can help us manage our schedules and stay on task. On the other hand, technology can also distract us from the present moment and make it harder to focus on the passing of time. For example, when using a computer or playing video games, we might become so immersed in what we're doing that hours seem to pass by in seconds.
Interesting perspective. Can you tell me about the psychological aspects of time perception? How does our brain process and interpret time?
Our brain processes and interprets time through a complex network of neural pathways and cognitive processes. One theory is that our brain uses an internal clock, known as the biological clock, to keep track of time. This clock is influenced by external factors such as light, temperature, and social cues. Another theory is that our brain uses a system of mental markers, known as temporal landmarks, to organize our experiences into meaningful segments of time. For example, we might perceive the passage of time more quickly when we are engaged in an exciting or stimulating activity compared to a monotonous or dull one.
That's really fascinating. Can you tell me about the different types of time perception? Are there any common misconceptions about them?
Sure, there are two main types of time perception: subjective and objective time perception. Subjective time perception is how we experience time in our everyday lives, while objective time perception is a measurement of time that does not change, such as the hands on a clock or the seconds on a stopwatch. One common misconception about time perception is that it is always consistent for everyone. However, research has shown that individual differences in time perception can vary greatly depending on factors such as age, culture, and even emotional state.
Wow, I never knew that. What about the concept of time dilation? Can you explain what that means and how it relates to special relativity?
Time dilation is a phenomenon predicted by Einstein's theory of special relativity, which states that time can appear to move slower or faster depending on observers' relative motion. Essentially, the faster someone is moving relative to another person, the slower time appears to be passing for them. This means that if two people were traveling at different speeds, they would experience time differently. For example, if one person was traveling close to the speed of light while the other was stationary, the person traveling would experience time passing much more slowly than the person who was stationary.
That's so cool. But how does this relate to general relativity?
Time dilation is also a consequence of Einstein's theory of general relativity. General relativity describes gravity as a curvature of space-time caused by mass and energy. The stronger the gravitational field, the greater the curvature of space-time. This means that time can appear to move slower in areas with strong gravitational fields. For example, clocks on Earth tick slightly faster than clocks in orbit around Earth because they are experiencing weaker gravitational forces.
That's fascinating. So does that mean that time itself isn't constant?
You've got it, Luna. Time is not a constant. It can change depending on our environment or where we are in space-time. This concept of time dilation has been experimentally confirmed by comparing atomic clocks on airplanes with those on the ground. The clocks on the airplane lose about 7 microseconds per flight due to their relative motion and lower gravitational field.
And they even named this phenomenon after Albert Einstein? How did that happen?
That's correct, Luna. Einstein's theory of special relativity introduced the concept of time dilation in his famous equation, E equals mc squared. This equation shows that mass and energy are interchangeable, and as an object gains speed, its mass increases, which slows down the passage of time relative to a stationary observer. It was first suggested by Einstein's work in 1905, but it took another half-century for physicists to confirm it experimentally.
Wow. That's fascinating. But how does this apply to daily life? I mean, who would care about their clock losing 7 microseconds per flight?
Great question, Luna. For practical applications like the GPS system that guides planes and satellites around Earth and throughout our solar system, even a tiny error in time can cause big problems. The atomic clocks on board these devices are synchronized within a billionth of a second of each other to provide the precise coordinates of objects they guide. If their clocks were off by just a few microseconds, the planes and satellites could go completely off course.
Oh, wow. I never realized how important time was for these things. It's like a game of dominoes. One tiny error can cause a chain reaction that leads to bigger problems.
Precisely, Luna. That's why atomic clocks are so accurate and precise. They ensure that everything runs smoothly in our world of technology and transportation.
So if we were to travel back in time, would our present self still be able to use the GPS system?
Great question, Luna. If someone traveling in the past somehow interfered with the atomic clocks on board these devices, it could cause major problems for people in the present. But in the present reality we live in now, our present selves can still rely on the GPS system to guide us safely and accurately wherever we need to go.
I never thought about that. Time is such a fascinating concept. It's like an invisible force that holds everything together, but at the same time it can be so unpredictable and chaotic.
Indeed, Luna. Time is a strange yet wonderful thing. But let's not forget that we are also creatures of time, and we must respect it to the fullest.